So
yes, what do you want to know about Freaknik?
I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
The first few questions are going to be just about the event and stuff like that. That's going to be the first set.
Okay.
The next set is going to be about how Freaknik affected you as a person, as a young man during that time.
Okay.
Heath, what first drew you to attend Freaknik in Atlanta during the 1980s and 1990s?
I didn't go in the 80s. I just went in 90. I went twice.
It wasn't in
It started in the 80s.
Oh, so you only went in the 90s?
Yes, I went in the 90s.
Okay.
I went in 94 and 95.
And what drew you to this event?
So I never heard of Freaknik before.
Mm-hmm.
We had a friend, the friends who I went with, who will remain nameless because of strays. I'm not trying to get nobody and nothing. I'm not trying. I'm just talking about my experience with Freaknik. I'm not talking about what anybody else did.
Nope.
No.
Don't do it.
What are you talking about? I'm not. What are you talking?
I'm not gonna talk. We're not missing no pastors or nothing like that.
Why would you say that?
I know. You edit it out. I mean, they weren't pastors back then, but
Bernie,
anyway.
stop talking.
Oh, what? Okay, sorry. Next question.
Okay. I have a friend that I went to high school with that moved down to Florida in Daytona Beach.
Uh-huh.
And some friends of mine who keep in contact with him was like, yo, he asked us if we wanted to go, if you want to come down to Daytona because it's spring break. And do you want to go? Now you got to step back some. So in 93, I think I hit the pinnacle of not the pinnacle. I had started a big, huge trajectory upswing of like my adulthood. Because at 23,
how old were you?
I was 23. In 23,
were you working at the Bureau?
I had just got the job at the Bureau.
I remember.
I had just got the job at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing,
there.
my good government job.
Mm-hmm. And I was already working there.
I was making $26,000 a year, balling.
This is 1993?
1993.
Okay.
Just got the job. And in November, I bought a house, single family home in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And then the weekend that I went to closing.
Oh, that's a big deal because most people go to their apartment from their parents' house. You went to a house.
Right.
At 23, you bought a house.
The weekend I went to closing, I bought a brand new car, a 1993 Isuzu Trooper.
You really thought you was adulting, huh?
Because I didn't have a car before. I was driving my mother's car, and I was like, I can't.
Well, you did. You had that car you were sitting on in that purple shirt with your muscles.
That car had been died.
But you had a car. You said you didn't have a car before.
Well, I didn't have a car at that time. Yes. My car had died. I had 3 cars by then.
That's what I'm saying. They had
all
cars.
died. Yeah, they had all died. So I had been riding my mother's car. When I bought the house, I wanted to buy the car the same weekend. Like I went to closing on Thursday and bought the car on Saturday because I knew that the housing wouldn't hit my credit yet. And so that way, if I bought the car, the house wouldn't show up on my credit. So I was still qualified. So I would be able to buy a car and a house at the same time. So I was able to afford it because my mortgage was only $527.
What happened when I got there? It was not that.
It wasn't that.
Why? What happened? Why was it more by the time I got there?
I think I had an arm. I had an arm.
Oh, okay.
I was balling at the time, like, as a young black man who thinks that you got it all. I got a house and a new car at the same time. So I was like, I'm him. And so when my friend was like, let's go down to Daytona Beach, I was like, we hop in my new truck. Let's roll. Daytona Beach. So we drove down to Daytona Beach and I was like, let's get an RV. And that's when we rented an RV because we were going to ride down Daytona Beach in an RV and like hang out on spring break because back then spring break in Daytona Beach was like a big thing.
Let me ask you something. Daytona Beach was before Freaknik?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So we drove down to Daytona Beach and hung out with the guy who lived down there. We stayed in the RV. And then we also stayed in his apartment. I won't talk about what happened down there. Actually, I had to talk about what happened down there.
Go ahead.
So down there, when we met with him, he was like, oh, all y'all people back up at home in D.C., y'all be all nice and friendly. Y'all need to stop being all nice and friendly. Y'all need to be, because girls down here in Florida are different. They don't want you to be respectful. Like I came down here from Maryland and I was being all respectful and everything, and I wasn't getting no play. So I had to start being disrespectful. I started calling girls bees. I started calling girls hoes and tricks. I was like, that is crazy. That is ridiculous. Why would you do that?
I have a question.
Yes.
The picture I saw
Which picture?
of you taking a picture with that girl.
Yeah.
Is that Daytona or Freaknik?
I don't remember. It was Freaknik. It was Freaknik.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. And then I have several questions, so I'm gonna need you to.
You have to know the backstory.
Okay.
Because
I didn't know. I thought Daytona was after Freaknik. I didn't know.
It was the same weekend, because of spring break weekend.
Oh, okay.
And so, but remember they were talking about in the Freaknik how Daytona Beach was like the place where white people go.
Right.
Right. So we went down to Daytona Beach because our friend lived down there, and we got the RV. We went on the beach and stayed around and did all the things. But it was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bunch of people, and so they was like, oh, we're gonna go up to Atlanta, to this thing called Freaknik. And I was like, okay, I ain't never been there. And it was on our way home. So we were like, we'll roll. Because we came down to visit him.
So hold up. You went to Freaknik from Daytona? I thought you came from here and was like, oh, we plan to go to Freaknik.
No, never heard of Freaknik. We went down to Daytona to visit our friend for spring break.
So the RV was at Freaknik?
No, the RV was at Daytona. And so we drove around Daytona.
Oh, you rented it there?
We rented it there because we drove down to Daytona, rented the RV, did the RV thing, took the RV back. And then the next day we went up to Freaknik. It was like a Saturday. And I was like, Dag, I thought we was going to be down here. So anyway, we went to Freaknik. And then that's when I was introduced to Freaknik.
I don't even know what my question was.
I forgot. So my point, I got to go back to.
The question was, what drew you to attend Freaknik in Atlanta during the 1990s?
My friend living in Daytona and invited us down. Okay. So I got to go back to what happened. So he was like, you got to stop treating these women with respect. You got to start treating these women like this, that. So he started calling them all these names. I was like, that's crazy. That's just ridiculous. He's like, trust me, watch. He said, we was on Bethune-Cookman's campus.
This is in Daytona?
This is in Daytona. He was like, watch. And so he was like, hey, Trick. And he called this girl that was all across campus. He's like, hey, Trick. And she stopped and turned around and said, huh? I was like, what's happening? Like, what the heck? He's like, come here. And now there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 guys standing there. And this guy says, hey, Trick, come here. And she turns around and starts walking. Toward us. I was like, she's like, y'all come here. And so we started walking like to meet her halfway. I was like, this is crazy. So he was like, what you doing? What you doing tonight? Oh, don't I know you? He's like, no. We ain't doing nothing. I said, we about to have a party. We weren't having a party. He just said that. We about to have a party. Why don't you and your get some girls to come over? No, we ain't. Man, shut up. Stop tripping. Get some girls to come over. Okay. I was like, oh, this is crazy. And basically, he convinced her to get some friends to come over. I was like, this is...
Y'all had a party?
We created one. I was like, this makes no sense. So I was like, I have to try this for myself.
Oh, my God. Okay.
So later on that night, there was these girls walking. I was like, hey, Trick, come here. They stopped and turned around and said, huh? I was like, this is working. She's like, nah, you come here. So I walked over to him. I was like, what y'all doing this tonight? Same line. Oh, we about to have a party at my friend's house. Why don't y'all come over? It's like, nah, I gotta go home. I gotta go do something. I don't care about your schedule. I said, look, I told you I'm in town for just the weekend. I said, come over. It's like, what's your address? I was like, this is crazy. I was like, this makes no sense. I was like, okay, Heath Wiggins has changed. I no longer am being respectful. I now am going to adopt the I don't love these hoes mentality because that's where successful.
That started.
That's in Daytona Beach on Bethune-Cookman's campus. That's where that started. I was like, this is crazy. And the next day we went to Freaknik.
Okay.
So that's what drove me down to Freaknik.
You got a little nostalgic, little happiness in your face that I'm gonna need you to curtail or fix or. Actually, I'm gonna let you have it during this interview.
Okay.
You can have it during
All
this
right.
interview because before we got to this interview, every time when we was getting ready for this podcast, every time we mentioned Freaknik, he had this little nostalgia, like little grin on his face, and I'd be like, "Why are you grinning like that?" Every time we talk about it. But anyway, I'm gonna let him have it during this interview because we are talking about the actual event and what occurred and all that stuff. So anyway, now. I got a whole lot of questions.
Come on, I'm not going to be so. I'm not going to be as
I'll let you do that introduction.
But I had to get that backstory out.
Yeah, thank you for the
you
backstory.
asked me. That's what caused me to go down to Freaknik.
There's going to be a lot of questions that's going to jar you to want to like go to a lot of memories and dig deep.
I'm not going to do that.
But you could do that later on when I get to the questions about how it affected you. I'm just want to just talk about the event.
But that was how it affected me.
But no, those questions are coming. Okay, so
you have to know that part because that's when I say Freaknik changed my life.
Yeah,
it changed my life because of what happened in Bethune-Cookman's campus. Of what I realized, I don't love these hoes.
Okay, and I have some more questions about how it changed your life later on. I'm just trying to get through the event and stuff right now.